This video is an overview for Build 127 of the InfoBurst platform. So, what's new in Build 127? Major features include support for SAP's BI 4.1 Service Pack 5, AD or Active Directory Sync user group roles, and what's known as the Command Line License Manager. First off, support for SAP BI 4.1 SP5 has been introduced in this build. Now, no platform update. The platform is the connection to your BI4 environment. No change is required for the platform when updating to Build 127. However, if your platform type is Java Client, or JC, users of a Java Client platform must synchronize what are known as the business objects jar files after applying the Build 127 update. So just make sure if you're using the Java Client to synchronize your jar files, otherwise things may not work as designed. Now, to do this, and again, this only applies for Java Client platform users, visit the InfoBurst support wiki, browse to the Setup and Administration section, and there you'll find an article entitled BI4 SDK File Synchronization that includes detailed instructions on how to do this, this jar file synchronization with your BI4 platform. AD Sync User Group Role. So just a bit of background on Windows authentication and AD groups in InfoBurst. Some users of InfoBurst utilize Windows authentication. This allows for essentially Windows single sign-on into the InfoBurst user interface. Users of Windows Auth can also optionally utilize what's known as AD Group Sync. This allows for the automatic syncing of select Active Directory groups into InfoBurst. So the users and groups that are present in Active Directory will be automatically synced into InfoBurst. So if you utilize Windows Authentication and AD Group Sync, it is now possible to assign a role, an InfoBurst user role, to all users in an AD synced group. Now this was designed for and is particularly useful in dashboards that have been designed to utilize InfoBurst's XML data cache, or XDC, where the authentication type in the dashboard is Windows Authentication. This means that the dashboard consumer is automatically logged in to view cache data based on their Windows ID or identification. Now, in the past, the assignment of roles in an AD group was manual, so each new user that was added or synchronized into the group had the lowest level of user role, which did not allow access to the XML data cache, and that role, what's known as dashboard consumer, would have to be assigned manually. This was cumbersome if you had large numbers of users in the group, or if users were being constantly synced or added to the group. Each user had to be touched manually. Now, with the assignment of a group role, all new users that are synchronized into the group will automatically be assigned the appropriate role, and in this case, the dashboard consumer role for dashboard consumption. The Command Line License Manager. So, with the Command Line License Manager, it's now possible to script or automate the application of an InfoBurst server license. This is designed for streamlining the disaster recovery process. The passive disaster recovery, or DR model in InfoBurst, requires that when enabling a disaster recovery server, the service be enabled manually, the appropriate DR license assigned, and then the server brought online. With the Command Line License Manager, it's now possible to script that process, so you can essentially one-click to enable a disaster recovery server. Anubis. Anubis is Infosol's HTML5 dashboard designer. with this designer, which is an in-browser designer, it's possible to design and deploy dashboards, or what are known as web applications for desktop and mobile devices. And this is pure HTML5, so these dashboards will run on any mobile device or in any desktop web browser. A preview of the Anubis Designer, which will be officially released later this year, will be available in, or is available in, Build 127. So we'll be giving you more information about Anubis and asking you to participate in this preview in our upcoming InfoBurst Community Hangout, which we'll talk about just a bit later. But in this Hangout, we'll be giving you a demo of Anubis and taking your questions about the designer. Windows Server 2003. So Microsoft ends support, EOL, or end of life, ends support for Server 2003 July 15th of this year, 2015. Also this year, InfoBurst will be moving to Microsoft's .NET 4.5 framework. Now, because support for Server 2003 is ending, it will not support this later .NET framework version 4.5. Starting in Build 129, which is tentatively due for release in Q4 of this year, 2015, InfoBurst users wanting to upgrade to Builds 129 and later will have to be on Server 2008 or later, or any version of Windows Server that supports .NET 4.5 framework. So we're getting this message out now. For those that are still on Server 2003, you can start considering getting your servers upgraded so you can move to these later builds of InfoBurst, and we'll certainly be providing details to you about how to achieve this with an InfoBurst server, how to move to or upgrade to a later version of Microsoft Server. So we've covered just a few key features of Build 127 in this video. Full release notes are available on the InfoBurst support wiki, and we have the address here, wiki.infosol.com/infoburst. You'll see a link to the release notes right on the front page. And as always, when applying an update to the InfoBurst platform, just make sure to back up your InfoBurst server environment. Details on how to do this are available in the wiki under Software Updates. And just make sure to test new builds in your QA and test environments before moving to the newer build in your production environment. Okay, so InfoBurst Community Hangouts. Very soon we'll be starting regular and informal gatherings of our InfoBurst users, members of the InfoBurst community, the InfoBurst development staff, and our support staff. We're going to do this via Google Hangouts, and this is going to be a regular, as it says there, regular informal gathering. So we may come to these Hangouts with a topic to be discussed, or it may just be an opportunity for you as users to speak with our staff, talk to the developers, talk to the support staff. Maybe you're facing a challenge, would like to discuss a potential use case. This is the place to do it. You'll have the ability to come and meet with us and talk with us and other InfoBurst users every week, and that's going to be held every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Our first Hangout will be April 3rd. And in this first Hangout, we're going to give you all the information you need to know about using the Anubis HTML5 Dashboard Designer, how you can take part in the preview of that new tool. And we'll probably have 10 to 15 minutes of demonstration of the new tool, and then the rest of our Hangout time will be spent discussing Anubis or any other topic that you like. The link, which will be a permanent link for this regular Hangout, will be sent to you via email probably sometime next week, and it will also be posted to our website. The InfoBurst experience at IBIS 2015. So it's that time of year again. IBIS, or the InfoSol Business Intelligence Seminar, will be held this year, June 22nd to the 24th. Like last year, we're hosting at the Park Hyatt Aviara Resort, and that's in Carlsbad, California. That's just north of San Diego, California. All the information you'll need about IBIS and the InfoBurst experience at IBIS you'll be able to find at events.infosol.com. So the InfoBurst experience at this year's IBIS is the third annual gathering of the InfoBurst community. So InfoBurst has its own track of seminars at IBIS, and the last 2 years we've had a great turnout of InfoBurst users. We're hoping for even more users to join us face-to-face this year in Carlsbad. Now, the InfoBurst experience is a track of 15 seminars about all things InfoBurst. We'll be talking about usage administration, dashboards, all sorts of things. A few of the key seminars include offline HTML5 apps. Now, we'll be talking to you in the coming weeks at the Community Hangout about Anubis, and very soon we'll have the ability to burst and deliver HTML5 dashboards offline to mobile devices, and we'll be previewing and actually introducing that new feature at IBIS this year. User influence. This is always a very popular session in the InfoBurst experience at IBIS. This is where typically we have a packed room of InfoBurst users telling us what they think about the platform, ways we can enhance it to better meet their needs. So user influence, very popular track always at IBIS. And this year we'll be featuring more InfoBurst user case studies. These are always very interesting because we get to learn about the very unique ways that our users are employing InfoBurst in their BI environments. This is just a few of the 16 tracks that will be available in this year's InfoBurst experience. You can learn more about IBIS and specifically the InfoBurst experience at IBIS at events.infosol.com. So that does it for the Build 127 video. As always, if you have any questions about the build, you'll be able to ask them at the upcoming Hangout on April the 3rd, or you can contact us via standard InfoSol support. With that, thank you and have a nice day.